Welcome to Her Cup of Real,
where we don't sip tea,
we spill it.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Her Cup of Real. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about girl math. Rosie, what are your thoughts, or what do you think girl math is?
I think girl math is whatever makes sense in your head, right? Whatever you want to make sense of the situation. Girl math, there's a lot of things that in my head, I calculate. For example, when I was spring cleaning, I went through my closet and I started pulling out all these dresses and things that I'm probably not going to wear anymore. And I went and counted all the dresses and pants and stuff like that. And whatever number I came up with, I decided to replace with more clothes. Did I need it? No, but in my head it made sense because there's room in my closet.
You got rid of the old, you made room for the new. Yes.
Yeah, but is that a responsible thing to do? No, it's not.
But it made sense in your head.
In my head, it made sense because now there's room for more clothes.
And I totally get it. And that would make sense in my head too. And I'm pretty sure so many of you can relate to that, where you declutter and then you add more new things, right?
On top of that.
So for me, girl math is very similar, whatever makes sense in my head. But as you know, I'm a big coffee drinker and I absolutely love my daily trips to Starbucks. And that Starbucks app gets me all the time, the rewards program and all that. So when I see that I have $10 on my Starbucks app, in my mind, my coffee is free at that moment because I'm not paying out of pocket. So it makes me excited. It makes me go get that cup of coffee. But in reality, I put in those $10 like a day ago or 2 days ago. But in my head, that's girl math. Like I got a free cup because I didn't pay for it up front. So that's girl math for me.
So how does that work? You put money into the app?
Yeah,
and then...
so you have the app on your phone and you just put money into it, whether it's $5, $10. I think the minimum amount is like $10. And you put your $10 in and then you scan it every time you go into the store or drive through to purchase your item at Starbucks. And again, in my mind with girl math, I didn't pay for it at the moment because I had the money in my app. So it was a free cup of coffee.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you just, prepaid for your coffee.
But in that moment it was free, okay? Not a dime went into that cup.
Another thing that makes sense in my head is if I purchase something and return it, I made money. It's like a little business, right? And then I go and splurge again, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you go return it.
And it just keeps going. And in my head, there's some sort of equation.
Yeah, you go return it, get your money back. And in your head, you made that money, right?
Exactly.
So now let's go back
and richer
and replace it with something new, maybe. That does make sense. That's definitely girl math for sure. Another thing for me that's girl math is when I go work out. And let's just say I go on a Saturday morning, go to my class to go work out, and I have something planned later on that day. I'm allowed to splurge. Like if I want to go have a flight of mimosas, I can have a flight of mimosas because I just worked out that morning, right? That to me is girl math.
So calories out, calories in.
Yeah, basically. But it's girl math. It makes sense in my head because, hey, I got a good workout in. Why not enjoy this flight of mimosas or a plate of tacos or whatnot, whatever you have planned for the day, right?
It's funny you say that because when I give a very hard workout, I always tell the ladies, don't go messing it up on Margarita Tuesday or whatever, your weekend Taco Tuesday. I always remind them that it's important to keep making progress, but it's funny how there's two different sides of things, right? I can see the responsible, right? We keep talking about the responsible way of handling things. And then there's the girl math,
math, the one that makes sense in my head.
Yeah, exactly. In every stage of life, I think our girl math starts to change. And then sometimes we understand that reality, right? So let's talk about fitness a little bit. I know it's very trendy right now to have like the Pilates experience and, all wear the same clothes. So now you got to buy that, right? And then you go to this very expensive event. It's like $75, but it's right off the ocean. And then you meet all your girlfriends and you have all these, mocktails, and there's little vendors there. And your one workout cost you probably $150, right? That's great if you have an abundance to give away or just to enjoy life. I don't knock it. However, is it a true investment in your health? Is it truly something you're investing in your life that's longevity, that's going to give you resilience, right? Your body's resilience? No. So I would say if you do that often, fitness isn't beautiful. It's not. Fitness can be really ugly at times, and I don't want to say ugly, but it is the side of you that sometimes we don't even want to film. Like, true fitness is a hard work. You lift weights, you make faces, you grunt, you sweat. Your hair is not cute, but that is a true investment in your life, in your health. It's not as cute as we see on social media. That's what that's for. It's for social media. And by all means, if you want to experience that, do it, but understand that all your money should not be invested in something cute. It should be invested in your actual health.
And I agree. I feel like when we get to a certain era in our life or age in our life where we really start to be more or use girl math in a more responsible way. I think for me, now that I'm in my 40s, I'm starting to see like what I need to put in to help with my investments, what's going to actually help me in the future. Yeah. And for example, working out. Yes, it's a monthly subscription, but at the end of the day, I want to live a healthy lifestyle. So we're going to put in that amount every month, right? And for others, they look at it and they may say, oh no, that's too expensive. But then they're going out to brunch and probably spending around the same amount in one day that they would spend in 1 month.
And look, I love Pilates, but I just know that, and I like the stretch. I love that. However, I'm a firm believer in weight training. So if you're not weight training, you're not doing anything for your bones, your future, right? Prevent osteoporosis is very important to do that too. A lot of people get these big box gym memberships, right? It's what, $30 to $40 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
And they go once or twice a year. Their workout costs them probably like $300 each workout because they avoid certain hours, because it's crowded, because maybe it's just, not a good time. So they have the membership just to sit there. And I think it's truly a waste of time. Money too. It's not a lot a year to spend $300 to $500 on a membership, but it also gave you nothing. You invested in nothing.
Yeah, and I also think like when you get memberships like that and it's only like $30, $40, in your mind, girl math again, in your mind, you're like, oh, it's fine. It's just $30. It's just $40. So it doesn't hurt that much, right? But longevity, it's going to hurt you.
I would say we should all look at our phones, look at all our apps and see what's in there that we can eliminate, because it's just throwing money away. And it's there for convenience, because one day you may want to open the app, or you may use an edited app or whatever, but you hardly use it. Go in there, delete it. If it's $20, I know it's not a lot of money, but use that money for good.
I actually did that. I'm glad you brought that up, because the other day I got like a bill from Apple for X amount of money. And I'm like, wait, why are they charging me this amount? And I looked back and it's all these crazy subscriptions that I had that I did not even realize I had.
Yeah.
So I went back to my phone and I cleaned out and I got rid of so many apps that I wasn't using.
And obviously, you saved how much?
Saved quite a few. I did. I saved quite a few, but I only kept the ones that I'm like, okay, I need this for my business, or I need this for like personal things. I kept the ones that I know I either use or that I do need. But there was a lot that you don't realize that until you actually go in and do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, there are though some expensive wellness habits that I think are doable and one should splurge on. For example, facials, nails, getting your hair done, Botox, any type of injection that or fillers that, you're into. I think in order to keep yourself feeling and looking good and doing the things that truly make you happy is a good investment. For me, that's good girl math.
Yeah.
Right. That I'm just gonna say it. It's good girl math for me. For me though, I like to splurge on myself and I like to take care of myself and do like get my nails done, get my hair done, facials, my Botox and all that. The way I see it is it's an investment in myself because I do have to show face on the camera. I do for my business. I do a lot of marketing. My face has to go out there and I want to look presentable. And at the end of the day, it makes me feel good. So if I have the means to be able to get my nails done, get my hair done, I'm going to do it. But it's because business-wise and longevity and just for my future growth, it's going to benefit me. But of course, there's others that will splurge on those things and maybe they don't have the means for it. So we also have to be responsible in that sense, right?
Exactly. I think it's important for me too. I think it does something for our own mental health, right? We show up a certain way. We feel good. We want to look good. We want to approach people feeling confident. That's important. But also if I think you should balance it out, if you have money to spend on one or the other, make sure it is the right choice. Is it your health or your looks, right? Can you get a nail kit and do it yourself and make it work? Yes, you can. A lot of times I have consultation with women and they'll tell me, I don't know, like I think 180 is a lot of money. And I tell them, okay, and this is a challenge that I will love everyone to do as well. Let's look at your bank account. How much do you spend on Starbucks? How much do you spend on eating out? How much do you, let's take a look. And if it equals like something like $500, I think that you can squeeze in some maintenance, some, health, fitness stuff in there too. And get a coffee maker. Get a coffee maker, learn how to make your own coffee. And look, I like fancy matchas and I've gotten into that. We were talking about that earlier. But I've noticed that it is racking up and I'm thinking to myself, is it important for me to go get a matcha, go home and work? No, why? I got the little matcha thing. I haven't started, but I'm going to try. And that is one step that I'm taking to making a priority, right? Sitting home having a matcha is I can make that myself. It'll probably cost me less than $1. So, there's things that we can do to prioritize. Now that we understand girl math and how we can stumble across that and how do we fix that? How do we fix that and make better choices? So I want to talk about deposits and liability. So there are things that you deposit in that do pay back in some way, whether it be personal, physical, or financial. Liability would be a purse, right? They lose value. Mm-hmm. Do you get a little stain on it? And I don't have a Chanel, but imagine having a Chanel. You spend over 10 grand and you get a pin stain on it. It is just no longer valuable. And you get excited for this purchase. You bring it home and then it's like, okay, now you have it. Now what? Mm-hmm. Did it really completely sad? Look, if you want a Chanel, go get it because I want one too. Yeah. But
I mean, don't we all?
I'm not saying I don't want one. I'm just saying that you have to be prepared for can you afford to lose? If you can't afford to lose something, then it's not the time to buy it.
I think it's like a short-term satisfaction, right? Exactly. Like in the moment, It's going to make you feel good. And don't get me wrong, we all want that Chanel bag. I would love to have one. But yes, if it's just a short-term satisfaction and it does lose its value.
Yeah. And I think cars are a liability. I think I'm not a car person. I've never been a car person, but I know some people can really get so cling to their cars and then it's time to give it up and it's worth half, or you can only get half of what you paid for. I think very expensive dinners all the time is a liability when you can cook at home, make better choices and save there, and then make that dinner an experience if you really want to, watch your wallet there. Yeah. Now deposits would be, for me, now that I'm older and I understand my girl math is not mathing, I think real estate is a deposit. definitely a deposit. I think like a 401k is a deposit. I think a business is a deposit. It's definitely going to pay back. I think retirement is a deposit. Now gold is going up. So if you bought gold, good job. It is probably double now. So things like that are deposits for me that are going to generate something in the future.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel going back to as we age and, the different eras that we enter, those deposits aren't that important when you're in your 20s, maybe even in your 30s.
No, they don't even matter.
No, you're like, wait, life
house?
insurance, retirement? I'm only 25. Why do I need to plan my retirement now,
Why
right?
do I need a beach house?
Yeah, exactly. So you don't think about those things at that time. And I think for me now that I'm getting older, it's definitely become a priority. And it has actually been something that I've been researching, like life insurance, like different retirement plans that are going to benefit me and my family and stuff, especially since I did transition out of like that 9 to 5, that stability that came with healthcare insurance and life insurance and the 401k, and it came with all of that already. And now that I'm on my own, I'm self-employed, I have my own business, I have to look for those things. Not saying that they're not there, they're definitely there, but now I have to do my own research and I have to invest in that.
It didn't matter to you because it kind of came with life, the life you had, and now you have to make it matter to you.
And another thing,
you could just forget about it, right?
Yes, that, and because I didn't actually see it in my paycheck. So obviously when you have that traditional 9 to 5, that comes with all the great benefits. You don't see that chunk being pulled out. They automatically pull it out and then send you your monthly or biweekly, pay. So you don't see it, so it doesn't hurt. However, now that I'm on my own, those are things that I started to like really look into, like, whoa, wait a minute. Yes, I made X amount of money, but I really need to start putting a certain percentage of that X amount of money into life insurance, into retirement. I have to now do it myself. Where the girls' math there is very hard because you cling, right, to this money that you just made as a business owner, but you also have to look at your deposits, right? Like your investment for the future. And yeah, it's easy when you're working the 9 to 5 that comes with all those benefits because you don't see it. So it's there, right? It's being pulled, but it's not hurting you as bad as it does, like for me right now.
So now when I make purchases, I try to reward myself. So for example, if I paid off a credit card, I'll say, okay, now I can buy myself something. It's something to keep you going, right? When you're working so hard at a goal, you do want to reward yourself because you don't want to burn out. You're just doing all these responsible things, right? But you're not irresponsible at the same time by just buying whatever you want or making sense of everything. So now I reward myself. For example, if I pay off a credit card or I take a course and I finish it, or I got my business to another level, I find ways to say, well, I earned it, and there is revenue, or there's something there that, again, don't burn out. Don't do that to yourself. You do want maybe a trip because you worked so hard this year and you surpassed last year's goal. Those are things that I feel like do math well.
And that's a really good point to make. Now, how would you advise for us? Because I am now transitioning into this path where, my girl math has not been mathing at all. And now, again, like I'm starting to do my own research and really looking into those long-term investments and stuff. But in this case, because I feel like you do need to reward yourself, right? To keep going. There needs to be some sort of motivation there, right? What is your advice to us that don't know how to start or how to even start in rewarding us? Like, what do you do? Do you write down your goals? Like, okay, I'm going to pay this off.
I do.
Like, give us your tips on what is it that you're doing to kind of help yourself in continuing and motivating yourself, but also rewarding yourself.
I'm a big firm believer of setting goals at the beginning of the year. And the first year I ever did that in my entire life, I accomplished everything. So I start to write them down. One of my biggest goals was to pay off a credit card that I've had for years. It never got out of hand, but it never went away. You pay more into it and you charge it. And it was my goal to just pay it off. So I decided I don't need this. I'm going to send it to my credit card. And it was just that check off list. You want to check it off. You don't want to keep looking at it. And I have this book that I take with me, and it's in my laptop, and I write down everything I have to do. I'm so manual still. I don't have an app that, gives me alerts and things like that. I still write things down. I like to cross them out. I'm old, okay? I'm old school. But in the back of that book, I still have my life check offs. So sometimes it's things that you have to be able to see. Some people, it may work if they have it in their wall, a whiteboard, whatever. Are those still around? Those still exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A whiteboard or little Post-its, whatever it is, let it be something that you're actually physically going to look at and you can check off. So when I paid off that credit card, I was like, let me buy something. What do I need to buy? Because, it makes sense. Now you don't have this chunk of debt. You only have this little purchase. And that to me maths well.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And I think it's definitely something practical that we can implement. I do like to start off the year with writing out my goals and like my vision for the year. But where I kind of lack and I need to do better at is re-looking, like going back and actually looking at those goals and that vision that I set up for myself in January, right? To kind of see, okay, where January was a few months ago. Now, where am I at now? And what do I need to do to keep moving forward? And I think that's where life just happens and you get so busy and you forget that you made, that list. So I personally need to do better at going back and taking a look at that list to kind of see.
One advice I would say, check on yourself every 3 months. So you made that goal in January, check back March, put it on your calendar way ahead of time. Then again, 6 months, and that calendar alert will remind you. It's so weird when I would see it because it would be, months ahead and it'd pop up. And I'm like, oh yeah, how am I doing? And you check yourself on that little calendar alert. So
that's a really good tip, especially because we're always on our phone. So when you get that alert or that reminder on your calendar,
exactly,
it'll definitely make you go back. Actually, I'm going to do that.
And at the end of the year, I ask myself a question. I know it's great to have accountability and have an accountability coach or mentor, but you can hold yourself accountable too. And that I think comes with maturity. You decide what's important in your life. I know we can have a lot of pressure with social media. If we allow it to, we can see our neighbor, right? Everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses, and it's hard to watch everyone with their hot cars and, all this stuff. And it just makes us want to have more, which is not a bad thing. I think setting a goal, if that's, what you want the house, you want the car. I'm not saying you can't do that, but also don't make choices that you're later on going to regret, because those people that do that could be an impulsive purchase. They could be living with their mom, but they want to look good. So if you're doing it for social media, it's just the wrong way to do it. If you need to focus on your business, make sure that comes first. And honestly, some of the most wealthiest, successful people in life shop at like JCPenney's. When I read about things like that, I'm like, okay, it's not even wealth. You're looking at building something, right? You want to build an empire or a business or a company, and it doesn't look glamorous on the way there. And I think once we understand that, and if people did make it to the top and they do have that lifestyle, well, they made responsible choices to get there. Otherwise, they would have been in debt. How would they get there? And we just have to remember things like that too.
We go on social media and we see these people, obviously showing off like their fancy lifestyle, or maybe they're sharing like, oh, you can purchase this course, or you can purchase my business and, make 10K plus a month, right? We see that I see it all the time on my social media. And it's like, okay, and in the moment you are emotionally down on yourself, right? So you do make that impulsive purchase.
It's pressure.
Especially because you're like, well, I want to live that life. And here I am sitting in debt. Maybe if I charge this on a credit card, I will make X amount of money in a month and pay it off, right? So you kind of go down that rabbit hole. And at this point, you're making these choices based off the current emotion that you're in. And then what ends up happening, you just put yourself in a deeper hole with debt. Because at the end of the day, yes, you're right. They may truly be living this lifestyle because they put the investment and they put the time and the sacrifice to grow whatever business they're showcasing, right? but it didn't happen overnight. And I think that's the part that we miss and that we don't look at, is that
we can skip right over that, right?
That wealth or that lifestyle did not happen overnight. It probably happened over years or months or so forth of putting in the time, putting in the sacrifice and the hard work.
And I will say, some people will use the car to gain more clients, or, that look. They can't afford it either, but they'll use it. And then that's where we get stuck, thinking it's just so attainable. And then we get in the same hole they're in. And then it's just kind of a cycle. Everybody, does the same thing.
So on the piece of social media, a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this because this is where my girl math makes sense to me, is I do see those beautiful influencers, that are showcasing, I don't know, they're showcasing some sort of serum or a skincare routine or so forth that makes their skin glow and makes them look amazing. Yeah. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, I want her skin, so I'm gonna make that purchase, right? And then in reality, that product just didn't do well on my skin because my skin is not the same as hers, right? Yeah. So we do make those, and I'm guilty of it.
Without researching first, without jump in and you want to do the same thing because they're doing it.
Exactly. And again, and you know what's crazy too? I feel that our phones listen to us, right? So like if I'm going through a rabbit hole, or I'm going through like, oh my God, I just recently had like all this breakout in my skin, and I started seeing an esthetician who has been helping out, my skin. And I remember when I was sitting there like frustrated about my breakouts, my phone totally listened to me because it was just throwing at me like all these different skincare products and so forth. And if I were to just jump in and buy any product that I saw in that moment because I was emotionally frustrated, I don't know what that product would have done to my skin at that moment. We have to look into what are they actually doing with their skin, right? Yeah. Why is it glowing? It's not this one product or this one serum that's making it glow. It's really them doing all this extra work, like the microneedling, the chemical peels, or whatever fancy facial is going around to help their own skin. But again, we have to do our own research because even though we're seeing it on social media, it's not a one size fits all, right? We have to remember that.
Funny you say that about chemical peels and Botox and stuff. Botox is something that does not give you, it's definitely a liability, I think. It's not a deposit. So I, like everybody else, love Botox. I'm like, hey, Botox is a friend,
Oh, Botox is my BFF. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But now I think I'm more into like what can change the quality of my skin, can make it tighter. Microneedling, I'm researching that. So now I'm looking for more of the deposit of I think I'm in an age in my life where Botox is not enough. I still get it, but I want to kind of steer away from it a little bit. Maybe not so much. Maybe focus on the quality of my skin. Mm-hmm. And that's also an investment, but at least I feel like it'll give me a deposit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think going back to those types of deposits, you also have to look at the type of lifestyle and the type of work that you do. Mm-hmm. Because again, we're in this industry where we have to, especially for you have your 2 gyms. And as the owner of the 2 gyms, you obviously have to look your best.
And I practice what I preach. I work out 5-6 days a week, and I walk. You guys see me walk all the time, do cardio. Yeah.
So just as you mentioned that you practice what you preach, as the business owner of 2 gyms, I too have to practice what I preach. Owning a teeth whitening business, people are always telling me, oh my God, your smile looks, good. Your teeth look so white. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't whiten my teeth on a daily basis, but I do invest in products that are going to help maintain them because of the business that I run.
Yes.
And let's be honest, like it's so important to keep, your smile looking good. And I think that is a
your
deposit.
Smile is your best marketing piece.
100%. I feel for anyone, it doesn't matter what field of work you do, your smile is the very first thing anyone sees, right? And we have to, that's definitely, for me, that's a deposit, right? Yeah. It's definitely a deposit because it's the first thing everybody sees. Your smile, I always say, your smile will really make or break a deal. Like, I feel
Have you met those people that are like, hi?
It's like, I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be friends with them. Well, that's all we have for today's episode of Girl Math. We will see you soon on Her cup of real.